Now, the reason you're all here, the storytelling. The Alliance asked 4 storytellers to tell a true story on the theme of comfort food. They were asked to think about the ideas, people, and places that bring them comfort or hope for the future. Our first storyteller is an ambitious beginning farmer from Southern Illinois who's into agroforestry. That's farming with trees. She's one of the founding members of the Alliance's Soil Health Caucus. And this young trailblazer has got a downright amazing story. Her name is Kaitie Adams, and she was recorded live in front of a recent gathering of the fellow Soil Health Caucus members. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaitie Adams.
I grew up right on the edge of the rolling hills of the Shawnee National Forest in Southern Illinois, where I spent much of my childhood outside. My parents took us on hikes often, and my mom would kick my sister and I out of the house during the summer. As I entered my teenage years, when most of my peers slept in late, I spent my summer mornings at swim practice or training for multi-week backpacking trips in the Southwest. I felt like anything was possible. As I entered college to study anthropology, I started staying up late, smoking cigarettes, and drinking entirely too much beer. I excelled at asking big questions, writing papers, and pushing boundaries. But I stopped swimming, and I stopped hiking, and I stopped spending the majority of my free time outside, unless it was a bonfire, and then I was free to enjoy my new hobbies, smoking and drinking entirely too much beer. By the time I finished my master's degree, I had wrapped up my department's highest honor, a pack-a-day habit, regular status at a few local bars, and half a decade of severe clinical depression. I felt like nothing was possible. As I was writing my thesis, exploring relationship building on small-scale farms, I came to the realization that I deeply longed for the lives of the folks that I was studying. They spent their time outside, moving their bodies with purpose, stewarding the land and producing abundance for their families and communities. And the day after my defense, I moved onto a farm. And 3 months after that, I moved to St. Louis to begin my farming career. During my 3rd week of work, I was introduced to a very strange fruit. It looked tropical, green, and alien, and its floral, earthy aroma washed over me as it was passed to me for a bite. The second the spoon touched my lips, a feeling of lightning went through my body, a feeling I have only felt 2 other times, summiting my first mountain peak and meeting my fiance, John. Its seeds had been found in the bellies of mastodons. It was a staple food for my ancestors, and it saved the Lewis and Clark exhibition from starvation. This humble fruit, the largest one indigenous to North America, the one that had just sent electricity running through my body, is Asimina triloba, the pawpaw. Its native range extends across the Midwest and into the South, and it grows freely in floodplains and along river edges, always in the middle story, with its deep, glossy, dark green leaves drooping down towards the forest floor. And you've definitely walked past them and not even realized their power. After this first taste, I became obsessed. I started learning everything I could about this fruit and obsessively scouting areas where it grew. I started hiking again, just to find pawpaw groves. I found them in city parks and botanical gardens and front yards and state parks and all over my beloved homeland of Southern Illinois. On these excursions, I started to see what forests actually are: interconnected communities of abundance. The overstory of oaks anchor the area with their deep mining roots, dropping their leaves to decompose for fertility and its acorns to support the scurrying life below. The hickories beside them bring much of the same, often dropping nuts on years that alternate with the oak. The pawpaws are right there in the middle, watching it all, sending down a deep taproot, spreading itself out, attracting carrion flies with their stinky flowers, and developing the magic fruit. Right below pawpaws is spicebush, with its bright red berries and warm fragrance. And then at our feet, wood nettle and wild ginger provide a carpet of nutrient richness. All are edible and joyous, Each is perfectly suited to its niche. These relationships make all life possible. Each year during September, when I am the most burnout from farming, I spend much of my free time collecting, eating, talking about, and sharing pawpaws. Its highly perishable nature and the fact that the best, ripest ones are found on the ground ensure I can only take what I need to eat and share. If I'm in a public place, I might get home with no fruit, even when the trees are bursting with bounty, because nothing brings me more joy than sharing the good word and watching someone try its custardy tropical goodness for the first time. So, if you see me out somewhere in central Illinois, looking up at some big glossy leaves, stop by and I'll share all that I can. You'll recognize me by the look on my face that says anything is possible. Thank you.
Yum. For the record, I love pawpaws, and I hadn't been aware of them until just a few years ago when my friend Tim Burton of Indiana maple syrup fame came up to Chicago with about four squirrels and several pawpaws that he had foraged for my podcast, and I couldn't believe that the Midwest could possibly produce something that tasted so close to a banana and a mango and a custard fruit or a custard apple. It was just like this miracle in Indiana and Illinois. So thank you so much for reminding me of those wonderful pawpaws.